welcome back to Toyota Sports Talk. My guy, Jake Russell, the Washington Post, now joining us. Jake, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Scott?
Always great catching up with you. Hey, it was a big night last night for the Washington Nationals. They didn't get the chance to pick between Paul Skenes or Dylan Cruz because Skenes went number one, but they got Dylan Cruz, which could be Bryce Harper 2.0.
Yeah, a lot of conventional wisdom leading up to the draft in the hours and the couple days leading up to the draft was that the Pirates would do a typical Pirate thing and go below slot and take, a Wyatt Langford from Florida, the big bat out of Florida, or a high school prospects they could pay under slot for the number one overall pick. But they went with the best pitcher on the board, and they went with an ace pitcher who can be the face of their starting rotation for years to come in Paul Skenes. That just left the Nats with picking the best college bat available in the draft. And they're loaded with outfielders, let's say. So if you add Cruz to the list, according to MLB.com's pipeline, the prospect listings, if you include Cruz, 7 of the Nats' 11 top prospects are all outfielders. So they're going to have some decisions to make because without Paul Skenes in your starting rotation, you're going to have to find some young starting pitchers to accompany Josiah Gray and Mackenzie Gore and Cade Cavalli in the future.
So it sounds like to me, and you were probably, in my opinion, if it was between Skenes and Dylan Cruz at number 2, I would have gone with Skenes just because when it comes October, pitching's always the big equalizer. Arms are at a premium, and it seems like you agree with me that you would have gone Skenes over Cruz if you had that choice.
Yeah, even though the conventional wisdom is that taking a position player is a much safer bet, in terms of injury history and the, length of injuries that pitchers deal with Tommy John surgery and the recovery time for that. It would be safer to take a bat in the draft. I still thought Mike Rizzo builds around starting pitching. So I feel like if both of them were there, if Rizzo stuck with, his gut in the way he always drafts, he would have gone with Skenes, I think.
So tell me about Dylan Cruz. He was the Golden Spikes winner, which is basically the equivalent to the Heisman Trophy. Best player in college baseball, led the Tigers to a national championship, on-base machine. How will that transition to the wood bats?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to hit in the 400s in baseball. I don't think he's going to be a Luis Arias or anything like that, but I think it should transition pretty well. He's got speed. He's got a good defensive acumen. He should stay in center field once he goes to the majors. I feel like he wanted to come to D.C. Those are some of the rumblings that have been out there. And you could see based on his reaction when he was drafted how excited him and everybody else in the background was to be selected to the Nationals. I think he's going to fit in well in D.C., and I think they should see him in the majors no later than late 2024, in my opinion.
And you talk about the young outfielders. I mean, you have a James Wood, a Hassel, a Dylan Cruz. I mean, those 3 right there, you could see them in the outfield 2025, 2026. But as you mentioned, they got 7 of them. So they're going to have to make some decisions.
Yeah, Elijah Green hasn't lived up to his reputation yet, but it's not time to give up on him at all. He's only 19 years old. He's still got plenty of time to improve, and he's one heck of an athlete. So there's a lot to like about his makeup there. They got some good young talent in the pipeline with the outfielders, but I don't feel like there's not enough room for all of them. Last I checked, you only play 3 outfielders at a time, so a few of them will have to go. And I think if they go for any position, they'll be exchanged for some starting pitching, preferably.
So Jake, we're at the All-Star break. Those Washington Nationals, they don't have the worst record in baseball. They don't have the worst record in the National League. I think they've done pretty well in terms of the expectations that were set at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, record-wise, there's very marginal improvement. You would obviously want to see more improvement than they've shown in that department, but on the field, they're a much better product than they were last season.
They look better.
Yeah, I mean, they're still making mistakes that young teams will do. They don't have that clutch winning gene yet because, this is still a young team, and the veterans that are on the team aren't going to be on the team in, 2 or 3 years from now, most likely. Record-wise, not as much progress as you'd hope, but you can see the glimpses there in the team, like with how Josiah Gray's made a huge jump from last year to this year. And you see the flashes of, why Mackenzie Gore was the 3rd overall pick in the 2017 draft. There are flashes there, and there is hope, and they're still all young, too. And, the hope is once you get all the young guys that they just recently drafted, call them up from the minors, and they'll all mesh together and learn to grow and win as a team. That's the hope for Mike Rizzo and everybody else in the Nationals front office right now.
Speaking of Mike Rizzo, what a trade that was. John Lester to St. Louis for the Lane train. That's worked out pretty good. Lane Thomas.
Yeah, that Lane train has not stopped this year. He's been playing lights out, and there's this whole debate as to whether, is this his peak, or does he still have room to grow? And do you keep him, even though he's...
Could you trade him, in a sense?
Yeah. In my opinion, I think this is the best you're going to get from Lane Thomas, so I would trade high if you can and try to get a top 100 prospect from some other team if you can, and help build that youth and help build that, that minor league system that you've developed over the last couple of years. And I don't necessarily see, obviously with the logjam of outfielders in their system now, I don't see Lane Thomas as a, long-term piece with this team. I think he was just one of Rizzo's better trades and a fantastic get, who was, a good leader and a good, teammate right now, who's performing just out of his cleats this season. If I was in the GM seats, I would obviously, listen to the best offers and try to get myself a top 100 prospect. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but I would listen to any offer that's out there for him right now.
Great stuff as always from the great Jake Russell, Washington Post. Jake, appreciate your time, my friend.
Thanks for having me as usual. I appreciate it.
All right, much more to come right here on Toyota Sports Talk.